Welcome back to another how-to guide for the Charleston Duck Race. Today we're going to be going over Little Green Light, which is a tool that we're using for our record-keeping team and for our treasurers throughout the clubs. So the record keeping is kind of a important task because at the end of the year when we consolidate all of our funds, we always want to make sure that everything checks out within the system because we have a number of methods in which we can adopt, sponsor, and donate for the Charleston Duck Race. First thing we'll go over is the dashboard. So this dashboard here is the Little Green Light dashboard that we see, and it constantly updates and is fed through the website. There's a couple different things on here to look at as you look at your dashboard. So the top right here, this will be your most up-to-date fundraising totals. So you can see right now we're sitting at 31,605 for 2023. I'm recording this on the 9th of March, so we're only a couple weeks in, so we're doing pretty well. And the goal is to get a little bit past 250. So last year we hit 222, and we're looking to surpass that in just a little bit, though. So as you scroll down, you can kind of see a couple different things. First one is donor summary by year. So you can kind of see all the different folks that have consecutively donated. And to see actually the folks that are in that category, you can click on this and it would show you that. But for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to share anybody's personal information. So there's also a graph down here that shows you total raised by month, year over year. And it currently only shows 3 years. You can customize that and show all 17 years of the duck race. But Little Green Light has only been in use for 3 years, so it's not going to show anything for those first 17 or the first 14 years of the 17 years that we've done the duck race. Kind of similar down here, you can see the number of donors. And then the one that I like to see the most is the breakdown by club and who's doing what. So you can kind of see how each club is doing throughout the year as well. So if you come back up to the top here, it shows the little monthly breakdown. But that's really the overarching introduction to the dashboard there. The next thing I want to show you is reports. So this is going to be kind of a nice fun way to show your club basically how everybody's doing and really how the duck race is doing overall as well. So on the left sidebar of reports here, you can see there's a number of different things in here. The main one that folks want to see is the gift pledge reports here. So every week I pull a new copy of the year-to-date ducks and sponsors by Rotarian. So you can see that the last one was pulled was actually March 3rd. I forgot to change the name, so it says copy, copy, copy at the bottom there. But to pull the most recent up-to-date one, you can do copy and edit export here in the actions button. So you click copy and edit exports. It takes you into here. It'll automatically make it to the day of the pull, which is the 9th. So then you'd come into here, you hit next, and it'll show you a preview of all the folks that have purchased. I'm going to black this out in the actual video so that you can't see all these folks that have purchased because I don't want to share anybody's personal information. And then in the next portion, you'll go to save and export. There's two different file formats. There's CSV and XLSX. And you're going to want to select SLXS because that's the best format for editing. That is an Excel file, and the CSV is a modified Excel file for somebody that doesn't have Excel downloaded onto their computer. So the way that you would do the next portion, you would just hit save and export, and it'll auto save it and populate it at the top, and then it'll download to your computer as well. So I'm not going to do that because I don't want to add on to the reports as I'll be pulling this later tonight to send out to the rest of the club. So I'll hit cancel. Going back to the dashboard, the only other additional thing that I kind of want to run through on non-record keeping tasks is how to add folks into Little Green Light. So there's only a couple admin people within the constituency report for the Charleston Duck Race. So you would come into team members and you can add in folks. So the only folks that can do so currently are myself, Sandy Jackson, who is our website administrator, and George Roberts. But if you ever want to add someone in to do the Little Green Light, just let me know and I'd be happy to do so. And then we can get them trained up by using this video. There are 3 examples that I'm going to be going over with 6 methods in which you can sponsor, adopt, or donate to the duck race. And we're going to use check cash to kind of show the two differentiators there. And we're going to do a new constituent and an old constituent. And I'll talk about why as we're doing those two. So just the first one is going to be our example one. And so this is just your standard adoption form. As you can see here, I'm using a Daniel Island form. So each club has their own sponsor form, adoption form rather, and it'll say which club at the top left. It also has the bank information and EIN for tax purposes, especially for folks that are donating. And then the portion that you'll be receiving as a record keeper is the lower half of just below the perforated line here. And so there are a couple of things that you're going to want to check as a record keeper. And so for this particular example, we are doing an adoption, as you can see, as the adoption box is selected. So there should be a number of ducks up here. So there is, and we have 2 ducks adopted. $20 was paid via cash. And so the solicitor is the credited Rotarian, and that's myself. And then the adopter is also myself. And so for this particular example, I have donated in the past to the duck race. So when you come in to add a gift, you're going to come to the little green light dashboard. At the top right here where my mouse is, you'll see a button that says add gift. You'll go ahead and click add gift. And that should pull up a search bar. So we'll go ahead and type my name in and see what comes up. And you'll see that as I've donated in the past, it'll populate my name. So you can go ahead and select my name. And that kind of skips some of the stuff that you have to do, which is putting in information like phone number, address, email address, and things of that nature. So as you come in here, there's only really one required field. We're kind of working on making some of these other things required as well, just for human error purposes. As we come in and we are putting these in bulk after a sales event, sometimes something gets missed, and we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So the first thing you want to come in and do is you're going to go ahead and select the amount that was paid. So in this example, going back to example 1, you can see that $20 was paid. And so we're going to go ahead and type in $20, and that was on today. So you'll come into the little calendar down here and select today. The type of gift. So there's 4 types in here. So you've got other income pledge and in-kind, but primarily everything that you're going to see is gift. The in-kind donations are more so, something like Agave is offering services such as, food for the event or something like that. Or New Realm is offering beers to donate to the duck race, things of that nature. But for the most part, we're going to go with gift. Pledges and other income are kind of some weird ones as well, but we'll discuss those at a later time. So the category, you'll want to make sure that you select the correct one. So going back to that form, we saw that it was, in fact, a adoption. So we'll go ahead and select duck adoption here. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to check your payment type, and that's cash. And so underneath, there's the check reference number. You don't have to put anything in there, and we'll go over that in the next example, in fact. Then you're going to come over to the right, and you're going to check out the appeal. And so there's only one category in here. I'm trying to set this as an auto thing that it automatically populates, but unfortunately, it's just not taking. So the appeal for this year is 2023. There's no event tied to this one, but there are some events that we have in here, and we're going to add some new ones in as we get some more recurring sales events. But St. Patrick's Day is the only one that we have in here currently. We used to have a Publix category, and this just kind of helps us show which ones really do the best for us. The team member category down here is the member that is entering this into little green light. And so you'll go ahead and throw that in there. And then in the notes and description section, you can put anything abnormal about this duck adoption in particular. And maybe they said they gave you a check and they said, please don't, deposit this until May 1st or something like that. And you can put that in the notes and description section and kind of categorize that. Since this one is cash, the deposit date will be the date that you put it into the bank. So you can come back and edit that later on, and I'll show you how to edit in a different video. Then you'll come down, and the last thing you have to select is the credited Rotarian. So you'll scroll all the way down until you find the person that was on the form, and on the form credited was myself. So I'll go ahead and select myself. If they're not in there, you can create a new one, but it will populate in a kind of odd fashion. So just go ahead and give me a call, and I'll be sure to put them into the system correctly to make sure that they're set. So then the last thing you'll do is you'll scroll all the way down here and you'll hit save. and that'll add in the gift for $20 worth of duck adoptions. And you can also click it at the top right. So I'll go ahead and click it, and it'll populate us up into all of the last transactions and back onto our dashboard. So then, we're going to go over a second example. And for this example, we're going to do it a little bit differently. So same exact adoption form, and different method in which they would like to, pledge money towards the duck race. So in this exact example, as I said, you'll be looking at the lower half here. And so you're going to take a look, and you'll see that 0 ducks are entered in, and it's actually a donation. So they're donating. They don't want ducks in the race. They want it to be 501c3 deductible. So they are going to select the donation. They paid $20 in check, and the name was Little Green Light How-To Guide. So you're going to go back into the Little Green Light system here. You're going to add a new gift. And for this example, I used LGL How-To Guide as my example because they've never donated, as it's not a real name. So you'll go ahead and type it in, and you'll search it. And as you can see, I have done this once in the past, but that's not the one that I want to use. So we're going to add a new constituent. So the first name, we'll call them LGL How-To is the first name, and last name is Guide. And you'll enter in all the applicable information. So for this one, we're going to do LGL How-To as their email at guide.com. And the only other thing that's kind of required is a contact method. And you can either do email or phone, but for this one, I'll do both so that I know to delete it out later on. So we'll do 843-867-5309, as that's what's on our form here, and it's the only number on my mind. So once that's all in there, it'll take you into to add this new constituent, and you'll come down here and save them as a new person. So then they should populate here in the constituent report. You'll come back over to your form and see how much it was that they donated, which was in fact $20. And so you'll go ahead and input $20 as your amount. And this one was a donation, so we'll go ahead and select donation as the category. You'll check your payment type, which in this case was a check. And then you'll come over to the check reference number. This is more so for the treasurers for later on. But for this exact example, I've made up a fake check here. Just to kind of show you guys in case you're not familiar, the check reference number is in the top right-hand corner of a check. It's also the bottom right-hand number. So in this particular example, it's 1027. This is a fake check, by the way, so if anybody tries to use this, it's not real. So you'll come in here and you'll put your check reference number in as 1027. And we're going to pretend like we're depositing it into the bank today. So we'll put 39. And then just like I said, in the notes and description section, you can put any weird notes like LGL How-To Guide, not real, is what I'm going to put in this one. And that'll just help me later on so that I can delete it out of the system properly. You'll come back over to appeal. Make sure you select 2023 and no event on this one as well. And you'll go ahead and select the solicited member that is putting this into the Little Green Light system. And you'll come down and give credit to the Rotarian that sold this donation off to the LGL How-To Guide folks. That's all captured kind of on your form. And if it's not on there, you're going to make sure that the credited Rotarian is contacted and get all that information from them. I'm going to cancel this so that it doesn't save in there and I don't have to edit it later on. But we're going to go over our third example, which is a sponsorship invoice. So we'll come in here and we'll go ahead and cancel all this and come back to our dashboard. Okay, so back on our dashboard, we're going to add another gift, and this is our third example. So we received a sponsorship invoice, which if you haven't seen a sponsorship invoice, this is kind of what it looks like. We do have paper copies of this, but I do highly encourage to make those sponsorships via website sales, as it makes it a little bit easier in the future. So the top portion is the sponsor's name. LGL Sponsor Guide is what we're using for this particular one. They decided to do $20,000 to be the presenting sponsor. And you'll come down here for all their information, make sure everything's filled out properly. So $20,000 is their mark, and make sure that you have a check or cash. I really hope they're not giving you $20,000 in cash because that would be a pain. But you're going to come in here and you'll search for that exact constituent. And so we'll come in and see if LGL Sponsor has ever donated for the duck race in the past. And I think that it should be a no. So we're going to go ahead and add a new constituent. And so we'll come in and say LGL sponsor as the first name and guide as the last name. So and we'll add in their fake email address, which was LGL sponsor at guide.com. And phone number, we'll go ahead and do 843-555-5555. And we'll go ahead and save this as a new person and it'll populate showing. So you'll come down, you'll come and select sponsorship. Make sure you select that category because it's extremely important, especially for an amount this high. You'll come in and you'll put your amounts in, which was $20,000 in this exact example. And you'll come and you'll select your method of payment. We'll go ahead and say that this is a check and use the same check reference number as before, which was 1162. And we'll put the gift date as today and the deposit date as today as well, as if we're putting it into the bank right away. And the event, we'll call this one a St. Patrick's Day event, even though we know that not to be the case, but just kind of showing you how that looks. So the team member that was putting this in was myself, and the credited Rotarian was also myself. So we'll come down and we'll select myself down here. And if I can find it, the alphabet's tough sometimes. And we'll go ahead and select myself there. And that's all you have to do. Very similar to all the other transactions. And you'll hit save, but for this particular example, I'll hit cancel. Which should take us back to our dashboard. And the next thing I'm going to show you is how to edit after the fact. So one of the things that we are really stressing this year, and we really want to make sure that we're doing the right thing and making sure that the treasurers are receiving something that's editable in the future, is we're going to make sure that everything on the forms matches the little green light system. So if you click on the little numbers at the top here, oh, sorry about that. We'll come back here. So I just want to highlight it here. So at the top right in 2023 appeal, in the gifts portion, you can select that and it'll take you into all the transactions that have happened thus far this year. And so, we want to make sure that we're selecting something that we want to edit into the form. So as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of the form, there's a selection here that says entered into little green light and ID number. Ordinarily, by the way, this would be a form that you would receive via paper. But for this particular example, you're going to likely see it in a much not as neat fashion, but this will kind of just give you the gist of it. So we're going to come into here and we'll select the one that we just did, the fake one from myself. So we'll go ahead and select my name here, and which will pull up all of my donations in the past. And we'll come in and we'll edit the gift that was thrown in here earlier. So if you ever need to come in here and change the deposit date, you can do that. You can also edit anything, category, donation, sponsorship, gift, anything like that can be edited in arrears as well. So that's one way to kind of fix anything that's wrong. So the other thing that you want to take a look at is there will be an ID number that populates for each one of these transactions now. And the way that we're kind of working that out in the system is that it's going to auto-populate a fake number, basically. So each gift will have a number, and I'll show you what I mean here. That's a gift ID number. So you can kind of see this is the fake one that we did here. So 922272. So when you come back to your form and enter it in for your treasurer, you can come in and of course I'm using Adobe PDF, so I can kind of type it in, but you'll typically be writing this in pen. So you'll put in the ID number, you'll put in that it was entered into little green light. And something that I'll probably add next year is which record keeper it was. So in this case, it was myself. So I'll go ahead and put myself. And that would be the end of it. So you would hand over that cash and the bottom half of the adoption form over to your treasurer. And the last thing I kind of want to touch on, a few folks have asked me about this, is the credit card section. So as you can see, it says last 4 digits. And definitely don't put the whole credit card information in there. That is typically for Square readers. If you have a Square reader that links into your website or something like that, you can do it in that method. But definitely don't put the full credit card information in there, as it's a violation of personal security. So you don't want to do that. So if you have any other questions as far as little green light goes, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'd be happy to go over any of this with you. There's also some great training webinars on here It'll pop up in your top bar from the first time that you log in, and I would highly recommend doing that as well. But if anybody has any other questions, feel free to reach out at any time, and thank you so much for tuning in.